Welcome to Sports CTO Talks. In this series, we would be connecting with industry leaders from the sports and technology industry, where we will simplify sports tech for all of you. I am Ami, your guide on this journey through the minds of amazing tech leaders who are shaping the future of sports. We will dive deep into discussions driving the innovations into the industry, from AI to cloud, from cybersecurity to sustainability. If it is sports tech, we are talking about it. Today, on this episode of this podcast, we are having an interesting guest and a different topic, 𝗕𝗲𝗰𝗰𝗲𝗍. He is the founder and CEO of Soccer Odds, empowering soccer bettors to always get the best odds available and maximize their winnings on betting. Soccer Odds is bringing odds comparison into modern day with an emphasis on providing value to bettors with a keen interest in the world's most popular sports. Today, 𝗕𝗲𝗰𝗰𝗲 would be talking about navigating the soccer betting landscape and what are the innovations happening into that. 𝗕𝗲𝗰𝗰𝗲𝗍, we welcome you to the podcast.
Thanks, Ami. Thanks for having me on.
So, my first question to you is, how has the global soccer betting landscape shaped, or how is it evolving in the past decade? And what are the particular rise in the digital platforms specifically and the mobile apps? So what is happening into that space?
Well, obviously, I mean, I guess, you can probably tell by my accent, I'm from England originally. So I live here in Los Angeles, but I've been betting on football or soccer, as we call it, and on sports in general for decades. And even back in England, in the late 90s, when I guess placed my first bet, we would go, we would go onto any high street, and there were several bookmakers, high street bookmakers. You could walk into a shop and place a bet on whether it be soccer or rugby or cricket or horse racing or anything like that. So I guess, over the last, since I've been doing this over the past 20 years or 20 plus years, actually, now I feel so old. Technology, people have been betting on their laptops, online, on their desktop computers. But now, of course, over about 75% of betting is done on mobile device, on an iPad or a cell phone. So just, to answer your question, really, I guess the biggest change I've seen is with technology is people being able to place bets anywhere, anytime, on the go, on their mobile device.
Okay. So, what are the new apps in the market for betting? If you could give us a few examples into that, or what are the
Sure.
digital
So
platforms people use?
yeah, so I mean, our product here at Soccer Odds, we're an odds notification and comparison app. So there's various tools and things that help sports bettors like OddsJam, who were founded in 2021 and actually were acquired in 2024, I believe. Odds Checker is a traditional kind of odds comparison app which has been going for decades, and there are many countries. But then you've got all the operators, whether it be here in the US or in England. You've got Bet365, William Hill, DraftKings, FanDuel. The space really since online sports betting was legalized here in the US in 2018, state by state now. I know there are several states where sports betting hasn't legalized yet, like here where I am in California, for example, a huge market. Florida is a huge market, Texas. But beyond that, there's still huge room for growth here in the US. And I think the US population really is they've always bet somehow, but now that they can do it legally, it's just this market really here in the US is just exploding.
Okay. So, what are the regional shifts you see, over 2 decades of your experience into the same field? What are the regional shifts happening? Is it expanding or how is it?
For sure, yeah, absolutely. I think so. I mean, here in the US, even in states where people can't legally bet, they've got offshore bookmakers they can open accounts with and place bets with. But the thing that I'm seeing, I mean, really recently, and it's all over the news. I'm sure you guys are seeing it. Is Robinhood, Kalshi, Crypto.com, kind of the so-called, I hate to use air quotes, but the prediction markets. um, they are opening up sports betting in a sense in all 50 states. They're kind of tied up a little bit in the courts with whether this is sports betting or it's not sports betting. I mean, I think to any outsider with an ounce of common sense, we'd all say, yeah, it's sports betting. They're just finding a legal loophole around this whole thing. And even with what do you call them? The other ones like Prize Picks and the social sports books, that aren't in theory sports betting. Really, they are sports betting, and so they're, it's really it's a legal landscape here in the US that's kind of, let's just see what happens. It's ongoing, and over the next year or two, we'll see how it kind of shakes out, I suppose.
Absolutely. So what is the market, like of soccer betting into Europe, Asia, and other countries? Like, how is that shaping up to be?
Sorry, say again.
How is the soccer betting market into other countries or other continents, like Europe, Asia, for that matter?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think something that's really taken off, I guess, is not just the pre-match betting with somebody's going to win or it's going to be a draw or something. I think in-play betting, or as we call it here, in the US, micro betting, um, has really taken off. Who's going to be the next goal scorer? Who's going to, you know, what's the total of yellow cards or corners? I think that keeps people engaged throughout while they're watching soccer, whether it be at home or or in a bar or whatever. That in-play betting, micro betting, is probably the biggest and the biggest growth market really that I've seen in a number of years.
Okay. So, like, what is the relationship between sports books and the soccer leagues, and how is it evolving? Like, is it becoming more collaborative, or people are more cautious into that?
Well, I mean, from my view, being back in England, the Premier League. I mean, in my personal view, soccer and betting are literally intertwined. They're like that. They're just connected. Every I think I don't have the stat with me right now, but I think it's over 50% of Premier League teams are sponsored on the front of their shirt or in the stands by a sports book. So that's just that kind of says it all. And also even in England in the lower leagues, the Championship, the League One, League Two, sports betting is just everywhere. So I think with soccer's, it's the world's most popular sport, and it accounts for over 70% of the global betting market. And I think soccer and betting, they're so intertwined, they're so close. And that's just, and now I think now in the US, I think we're going to start seeing similar things here with shirt sponsorship and stadium sponsorship, whether it be sponsored by MGM, MGM or Bet365 or FanDuel or DraftKings or whoever. And of course, also worldwide, you've got other markets that are huge that are just opening up really for sports betting, such as South Africa, Brazil, India as well. I know India is more cricket focused, I
More
guess,
cricket
but
focused.
but soccer, yeah, right, but still soccer as well. So I think in terms of sport in general and betting and of course soccer being the world's most popular sport, they're really just you can't even separate the two really, in my opinion.
Okay. So how do you look at the startup space into specifically the soccer betting today? Like, is it growing? Are people entering into the startup space? And if yes, what is the care they should take?
Absolutely. I mean, here in the US, next year it's extremely exciting. We've got the World Cup here next year, 2026. So it's the world's biggest sporting event. We've got in America, Canada, Mexico. It's going to be huge. I mean, soccer it's already growing in popularity here in the US. NBC Sports do a great job of showing the soccer. Paramount Plus, USA. Really it's really growing exceptionally. And I mean, to do a shameless plug, I mean, there's a few different businesses I've come across who are really innovative in the soccer space, especially in terms of AI and in-play betting and who's going to score the next goal and who's going to get the next corner and different things you can do. But to give you a shameless plug, I mean, Soccer Odds, my business is we're building something here that's really taking odds comparison from being old and traditional and kind of static into the modern day. We're actually building a product which is more, it combines elements of a traditional odds comparison app with things that features and benefits that are like a stock trading app like Robinhood or E-Trade. So that's kind of exciting. But I think there's just a way to go. And even here in the US, even though soccer probably won't ever be as big as the NFL or the NBA or even maybe ice hockey. The market is so huge just by the number of people here and people who bet on sports that soccer is really finding its groove now here in the US.
Okay. So like when we talk about soccer, like these days, all the sports are integrating technology into it. So like, what are the things or what is the technology which is beneficial for the soccer betting?
I mean, AI is the big one. Everybody's sort of on the AI bandwagon, I guess, is, hey, it's going to predict, who's going to win the match or who's going to score the next goal and those kind of things. In-play betting is huge. I think for people here as well in the US who the Premier League is huge, MLS is huge, but now we've also got the women's soccer is growing and more professional leagues. And even other, apart from, in Italy, you've got Serie A, and Spain, you've got La Liga. And I think even the lower leagues here are just garnering more and more interest here in the US with people who enjoy betting on soccer and watching soccer.
Okay. So like, how are operators, the betting operators specifically balancing user engagement with responsibility into the gambling initiatives and especially the high stakes sports like soccer?
For sure. I mean, we with Soccer Odds, we're finding that users of our product are really they're not the people who maybe bet $10 a week on a parlay or just bet on the Kentucky Derby or bet on some NFL. For people with our app, they tend to be the more high value users who bet maybe several $100s a time and bet frequently. And it's a good question. I mean, responsible gambling. My family's been affected by not to get into details, but by somebody who it was actually poker was his thing, online poker, and he defrauded lots of people out of money and actually did time in prison. And so it's a big problem, this thing with people betting with money that they don't have, or it's not theirs, or it's on credit cards and it's not real money. So I think much like the banking industry have to know who their customers are, where their money's coming from. Do they have the money? They do credit checks. They do, ID checks, they call them up. So all those kind of things, I think, are just, those things were always going to happen really here with sports betting, and that can only be a good thing. I mean, especially with things like people not being able to bet on credit cards. Okay, lots of operators now don't take credit cards; they just take debit cards, so that people aren't running up these huge credit bills with borrowed money. They actually have to have the money if they want to place a bet that it's on a debit card or, so that makes absolute sense to me. And I think it's, and I sort of think anybody who disagrees with that, it might seem strange for me as a founder building a betting product. You probably might think I want everybody to bet all their life savings and go crazy, but it's not. It's people have to be in control, much like anything, much like drinking or it's so-called, as if I can use air quotes, a vice industry. And we all have to be responsible and know that people are in control and they're just having fun. And at the end of the day, that old adage that comes down from I think that my parents told me decades ago, you can only bet what you can afford to lose, right? That's it. That's it. You can't go crazy and try and go beyond that. So I think all these checks that that the industry is putting in place, can only be a good thing for everybody.
Absolutely. So like, what advice would you like to give, or what are, a few key takeaway for people entering the startup field? And what is the next big thing into the soccer betting?
I mean, I would just say be brave. If you've got an idea, the sports betting market is huge. It's growing. There are so many niches within sports betting and not just soccer, but everything else, whether it's content or product or something that differentiates you from everybody else. I would just say, go with it. I mean, if you've got an idea and the market's big enough, then it could work. I mean, I recently joined a group here in the US called Profluent Sports, and they're
Right.
really, I don't know if you heard of those guys. I don't know if you guys are with them, but Andrew Petcash and Scott Garber, they're the two founders of Profluence, and they
Right.
really, it's kind of it's just a group. It's full of founders, investors, advisors, technical people, anybody who's building anything really in sports or sports tech, betting or otherwise. This is a really good group
Absolutely.
to join in, and just they've got a forum, they've got events. I think it's a wealth of information. But for me, I think there's always doubt in your mind if you think, well, my goodness, I've got this idea, but well, why hasn't somebody else done this? Or maybe it doesn't work. But I know from my point of view with Soccer Odds, I built up a pipeline of users through my landing page and had conversations with them and found out that this business really solves a problem, and it's a problem that they would pay to have solved. And there's other ways we can monetize it. But right now it's early stages and, we're kind of building the product. But yeah, to answer your question, I think just if you've got something, seek some advice. Everybody seems to be forthcoming with help and advice, and nobody's too shy to or too scared to help you. So just ask the question. If you've got some idea, then maybe just go for it.
Absolutely. So like, are there any untapped areas like, micro betting or gamification, which you see as the, industry expert, there is potential in the next 3 to 5 years? Any
For
specific
sure. I
areas?
mean, if you'd asked me that a couple of years ago, I would have obviously said, yeah, in-play betting, gamification. That's a great way, whether it be in soccer or the NFL or the NBA or NHL. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think as an entrepreneur and founder, I never think, oh, well, gosh, I shouldn't bother because everything's been thought of. There's always other ways, other things you can think of, and other ways you can push this and find new avenues to find things that turn on certain markets and certain niches. I mean, yeah, I don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately, but I mean, I know we've got the World Cup coming here to the US next year. That's going to be really exciting, just in terms of growth of sports and sports betting, and that's going to be one of the most exciting things, I guess, in terms of growth for soccer betting and for us with Soccer Odds, of course.
Absolutely. So like, any this is my last question to you, like being into the industry, what are the two or three specific takeaways for all the people working into the sports industry, not specific only to soccer?
Oh man, I don't know. I think there's so much. I think there's so many opportunities, really. When you look at not just for founders and things, when you look at developers or PR or marketing or anything, this is really huge, and it's only going to get bigger. And you're seeing really even on job sites and recruitment sites, you're seeing, you know. FanDuel, DraftKings, Underdog, Fanatics. You're seeing all these sportsbook recruiting and top people and paying top money for people. So I think this idea that perhaps this is a thing that maybe isn't going to work out, or it's going to be just something it's short-lived. I mean, I think sports betting in the US especially is it's only going to get bigger, and fair play to those guys who are in at the start, who've got those skills to build product, and fair play to you.
Absolutely. So like now, Jeffrey, we'll move on to the next segment. That's the rapid fire session.
Oh,
I'll
okay. Sounds
I'll
fun.
I'll ask you a few questions. You'll have to be quick in answering, okay?
Okay. Is it like a one-word answer or?
One word, max 2, 3 words.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right. I'll do my best.
Perfect. Messi or Ronaldo?
Ooh, Ronaldo.
Okay. VAR, love it or hate it?
Love it.
Okay. If you had to bet on a non-soccer sport for life, what would it be?
Oh gosh. Tennis.
Okay. First ever, good one, but first ever bet you placed. Do you remember it? Did you win or lose?
I do. I bet on my team Sunderland to beat Newcastle. It was like a £10 bet in 1998
Okay.
or 9, and we drew. So the bet was a loser, unfortunately. I lost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In-play betting or pre-match prediction, what's more thrilling for you?
Oh gosh. Oh man, that's a tough one. Pre-match.
Okay. Finish this sentence. The future of soccer betting is
Growing and exciting.
okay. Perfect. Now we'll move on to the next segment. That is answer in 30 seconds. I have one question only for you. Like, what is the role of AI into soccer betting and the innovations happening today? You'll have to answer in 30 seconds.
Oh gosh, I think AI gives people it really brings the data together really quickly for people who want to know a team they want to bet on, whether it's how they performed in their recent matches, shots, corners. I don't think AI, unfortunately with sports betting, we're trying to predict something here that's by its very nature unpredictable. I don't think AI is a magic key to telling you who's going to win, but I think it saves people a lot of time in just bringing the data together that they're looking for.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeffrey, for your time and the wonderful insights on the podcast today.
Thank you, Ami. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, everyone, let's stay connected for more understanding on sports and technology in the future. Please share this episode with your friends, families, and the people who love sports and technology. That was Jeffrey sharing his wonderful insights. Thanks for tuning in. Let's meet next week on the next episode. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, keep exploring.